What up, snitches? I'm the Animaniac, and to thank everyone for their support in getting me to 100 subscribers, I'm going to revisit the subject of my most hated video to date. Mao Mao, Heroes of Pure Heart. Premiering back in 2019, this brainchild of Parker Simmons is about an adventuring duo who are forced to protect a formerly isolated kingdom from both a band of pirates and the wildlife that surrounds it. The show premiered in July of 2019. My original review of it came out in September of that year. I based it on its first 10 episodes, which was an approach I'd taken with a few recent shows I've reviewed at the time. I considered that many 11-minute episodes and 5 half-hour ones enough for a show to try and hook me, to get me to watch more. Last year, I had put that method on the shelf to save it for later on when my channel is bigger. So the video went live on September 1st after I'd gotten back from a pretty rough night. I won't bore you with the details. And I saw the review's like to dislike ratio was 1:1. It's not good, but it's not bad either, and I thought maybe the likes will start ramping up. Over the coming days, however, the dislikes just piled up until it stayed at a ratio of 3 likes to 17 dislikes for quite a while. Now it's standing at 4 to 21. Damn. And what people who commented on that video were just as shocked as I was to see it get so much hate. You might think that I'm the only person who feels this way about the show. Well, maybe on YouTube, but if you look at its reviews on IMDb, you'll notice a minority who feel the same way I did, and they were greeted by a similar response. So I'm not alone on this. But unlike those IMDb reviews, when I revisited this show, those initial feelings I had came back. Except this time, I figured out why. Before I get to that, I must assure everyone that this isn't total crap by pointing out the good stuff. But before that happens, if you guys want to be the first to know when a new video will be up, be sure to ring that bell after you subscribe. And if you would like to see these videos before they go on YouTube, subscribe to me on BitChute. What I said about the animation in my original review hasn't changed too much. The environments look nice, whether it's the palace, the town, or the forest that surrounds it, and the use of light pastel colors in contrast to the bolder colors of the characters helps them stand out in the chaos. The designs of our heroes are simple, making it easier to animate, especially for the action scenes. Now the monster designs I have softened my opinion on a lot. I think they look pretty cool and would be intimidating if not for the reasons I'll get into later. But it's on to the courageous team that slays them. The creator voices the title character, a valiant black cat swordsman with a fragile ego brought on by his difficult childhood who gives his all to protect Pure Heart Valley. The voice Simmons has for Mao Mao is good for the badass hero that he's supposed to come off, which makes it funny whenever his imagination conjures these scenarios that are detached from what reality the show has. More on that later. That, and given the type of people the Sweetie Pies are and both the antics of them and his friends, makes him the most sympathetic. Speaking of the Sweetie Pies, Adorabat is one of them who is taken under Mao Mao's wing as a hero in training. In the original review, I went off about how annoying she was thanks to her high energy being too much for me and her voice being hard to listen to. This time around, I had softened on her voice. When she's speaking normally. But when she's shrieking...
Do you love your mommy? Do you love your mommy? No. What is wrong with you?
It's not fun to listen to. I think later on in the show, Lika Leong made her sound a tad cuter than in the first 10 episodes. The relationship between she and Mao Mao I enjoyed what I could sink my teeth into, and I wished to see some more progress in her training. At first I found her unbearable to watch, but now I think she's okay. Well, that's because my bile was redirected at the third member of the team. Badger Clops. Mao Mao's big, fluffy best friend who's a badger with a robotic arm that has every attachment for every situation. Griffith Kimmons' performance as him doesn't make the character less insufferable to watch. When we first learn about Mao Mao, his dreams, his ethics, and his upbringing, Badger Clops responds to these moments by either laughter, teasing, calling it stupid, or falling asleep listening to it. When in other instances, he has the gall to get offended by what Mao Mao said or did to him. Since we got to learn about Mao Mao first and Badgerclops responded with jeers, it made me like Mao Mao more, then look at Badgerclops like a hypocritical jerk when they try and make us sympathize with him. There was a time where they kinda succeeded at that in Ultraclops, where they've written Mao Mao to be an uncaring, dismissive jerk. But when all three of them are the same size and Badgerclops goes for the high road by saying Mao Mao would destroy the kingdom they're trying to protect, it doesn't work because of what he was doing before, dancing around in the town, causing damage to it and to the sweetie pies when he's not imposing his own will over them. Wow. Even when I go to make an argument for him, I find a way to cancel it out. So any sympathy he might get is buried underneath so many instances where he's either stupid or insufferable. The only way I can find him entertaining now is seeing him in pain. And when our heroes aren't fighting monsters and occasionally each other, they come face to face with the Sky Pirates. Orangursnake, Boss Ostrich, Ramaraf, and Ratarang. The last three being what remained of his crew after an incident where several others were knocked off their airship and they never showed up again. Which makes no sense considering Orangursnake and what was left of his crew survived their ship crashing many times and being sent flying. I'm just gonna say right now, since I can't figure out where I can say it that'll fit. If they're able to survive that, then why haven't the rest of his crew shown up in any other point in the series to help them? God, that's stupid. Anyway, their goal throughout the series is to get their ship up and running, steal the Ruby Pureheart, and use its power to rule the world. But their plans get derailed every time by our heroes who haven't arrested them for their crimes by now. I have a hard time finding their antics amusing, nor is it satisfying to see them get their just desserts. I need something to pick me up after that, and I bet you'll want to hear something pleasant about the show before I tear it apart. So here is a compilation of all the jokes I liked in the show. Any joke that wasn't here either landed with a thud or I found too stupid to enjoy.
Get them! Eelwing! Why aren't you flying?
These wings are too heavy!
Special news announcement from the show grown-ups watch because they hate themselves. Oh, for the love of... Wasn't the news just on?
All right, I can't.
Magic Prop, stay at home.
Oh, phooey. Does that mean we have more time for my magic show?
On second thought, maybe we should be monitoring it.
Doorbat, say we let you do your magic show. How exactly would that stop the monster? Obviously sick, man. You even look like a germ.
No, you look like a jerk!
Oh, we all remember the show he gave us last year.
First place goes to Big Thumb Pete.
I need you to take me to the bathroom.
One or two.
Great dad!
So it's a glorified glow stick?
No! 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 No!
I hate showering.
Oh, it's so cold!
Welcome back to Head Chef, where we make cooking look more stressful than it already is.
Put the butter. Check out that gross bird. I want to touch it.
No, focus, Metroclops.
We did everything illegal together. Theft, bribery, environmental activism.
Put me in your mouth. Sleepier. Why isn't that one capping? I'm trying! I'm trying! Can't you see I'm trying? I'm trying!
Do you think you can get it for me? I'm a little busy.
Tell your friends you have to go. Oh, no, 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 no! I'm naked! Micro wiggle! Hey.
What could possibly be so important?
And a doormat? Just upstairs and discard anything that doesn't bring you joy.
Nothing brings me joy!
That's what I like to hear. To me.
No, please don't do this again.
Nope, that's not it.
Stop doing this. I will buy you a bag to hold your stuff.
Tell you, but even with your height, it'd still go right over your head.
Now for the major problems this show has that are keeping me from enjoying it. You might have guessed what the first one is. It's great action minus people getting hurt equals I don't care. I'm aware the show is influenced by the works of Akira Toriyama, but for this I'm sticking to Western cartoons for this section. Because I'm far more familiar with it, and if not for its Golden Age's influence being present in one of the earliest anime shows, Astro Boy, anime wouldn't exist the way it is today. You're welcome, anime fans. The way Mao Mao uses its violence is not new. It goes back to Western animation's golden age. Characters getting crushed with foreign objects, characters hitting each other with weapons, cutting them into ribbons, shooting each other in the face, and making one another fall off cliffs. But then they would just dust themselves off and keep the scene going, or they'll be fine in the next scene. Actions that, if done in a very serious story, would mean death for any other character. This style of violence had survived after the Golden Age, when cartoons made their way onto television, but Hanna-Barbera made it goofy and had to do it off-screen to keep their already tight budgets low. It had survived action for children's television's attempts to stamp it out, but withstood it and came back in the 90s in similar style shows. But the 2010s were a decade where shows that were seen as silly made way for something much more interesting. And if your show is hinting at something big, you have to be careful with how you use it and to what degree you do it at. In a show like Mao Mao, where action scenes occur regularly, the fights are cool, but there's one thing that's missing: the threat of death. For not just our heroes, but also the villains and civilians that are caught in the middle. Because if characters can survive an airship crash, falling from guaranteed death heights, like from the Ruby Pureheart and into the town square fountain, and be up and ready for battle, and be crushed but still come out alright after a trip to the hospital, you can make your fight scenes as cool as you want, whether they're a spectacle or a sequence that shows off your characters' creativity and resourcefulness. You can hype up how epic the supposed final confrontation will be as much as you want, but after 40 episodes, I'm not buying it anymore. And even when they do get hurt, like in the finale, Strange Bedfellows, where Orangasnake and Mao Mao get hospitalized after getting whacked by a monster tail and hit the concrete, I still don't buy it because they were previously shown to have survived worse. And that little inconsistency with how characters get hurt reminds me of the next problem this show has, which I have called Mao Mao's Inconsistency Rash. When putting together a world for your show, no matter how silly or absurd it comes across, you have to set rules and abide by them when writing. It also helps to remember how important cause and effect is, and to ensure there aren't any details of the world you created that don't feel out of place. Like Star vs. the Forces of Evil with its fantasy setting with random modern innovations, thankfully there was one detail in Mao Mao that explained its mix of fantasy with technology.
Shouldn't we take Mao Mao to see a doctor?
Doctor? You don't want to see those wackadoos?
But the drawback is that there's potential for it to be a part of a story where our heroes try to fix the Ruby Pureheart, and there's a controversy between magic and science. A little something to consider in the future. Where was I? Oh yes, cause and effect. With the actions of the characters, it pays to have them last for a while. So what is up with the memories of the Sweetie Pies? The citizens of Pureheart Valley that our heroes frequently protect from the pirates and the surrounding monsters have iffy memories. In Popularity Conquest, they randomly decide they have a problem with Mao Mao's attitude, and he tries to make himself likable. This is despite them going nuts over him in previous episodes like Not Impressed. Okay, number 1. The end result of Popularity Conquest amounts to nothing when in He's the Sheriff they're back to praising him again. And number 2, the piles of rubbish and trash fires everywhere and everything else they've done when you look back at how they were first introduced Makes you wonder how they were able to survive for so long with a cloaking device up without law enforcement to keep them from killing each other. And then there was the time a couple getting married in The Perfect Couple, they paid to have the Sky Pirates' ship fixed, forgetting that they're the ones who are trying to steal the Ruby Pureheart. It's moments like these where I wonder if they're even worth saving. They can do whatever they want and react to it however they want, but it won't stick in their minds come the following episode, and after a while, the audience won't care either. The Sweetie Pies aren't the only ones with foggy memories, as our heroes have had their moments. Mostly Badger Clops and Adorabat. I can't remember if Mao Mao had any moments where he forgot the events and details in the show, or before then. I'm sure someone will point out a few times he did in the comments below. Now it's time to start listing off all the times his teammates forgot stuff. Like the first lesson Adorabat learned in I Love You Mao Mao. A hero puts aside what they personally like to do the right thing. But then that's forgotten in episodes like Breakup, Outfoxed, Legend of the Torbaclon, and Meet Tanya Keys. She also forgot how to gel with the rest of the team outside of the first episode in No Shortcuts, which was pointless as she is shown to do very well in battle with Mao and Badgerclops afterwards. Then there was the time she endorsed Whimsy in The Legend of the Torbaclon, forgetting about the last instance she bought into a charming idea. Outfoxed. An episode where she got obnoxious to listen to. Or the time in Try Hard where she forgot she could fly when confronted with broken glass. A stupid moment in what was until then a decent episode. Enough about Adorabat. I want to focus on Badgerclops. As if I didn't hate this guy already, these instances of memory loss don't make it better. Him saying Mao Mao's sword is a glorified glow stick and weapon of choice is one of them. He and Mao Mao have been on adventures and fought monsters together before this show began. You're telling me you never witnessed what Mao Mao can do with that sword? Was the time where he fought a monster by himself in small too awesome that you blocked it out? What about the times you tried to be the bigger person? Did you forget you sided with the Sky Pirates and believed they could change, forgetting what they're in Pureheart for?
Stop criticizing me!
I'll come back to you later. Enjoy the respite. When a character goes through an event like that, it's meant to stick with them and help them grow, as that is what comes after developing them. Character growth. When you write a character to forget details in an effort to make an episode work, you're insulting the intelligence of your audience, no matter how silly you make the show. And once that happens, when you then start referencing and or carry over an event from a previous episode, Badgerclops' audio diary in Trading Day, his caller ID from Captured Clops, and Mao Mao's old dog showing back up in Bouston's show, you're twisting the knife in our brains. The same applies to our heroes' abilities when fighting. It's not getting better as the series goes on. Mao Mao and Badgerclops were shown to have gelled very well as a team in battle. I mean, that would happen in one episode and then in another for some very stupid reason. Our heroes would have a handicap set on them so they couldn't fight the monster by themselves, or when being in a precarious situation, or having an ailment that doesn't affect their performance too much. Mao Mao, when sick, still fights well. Badgerclops didn't escape Tanya Keys' bag until Mao came to rescue him, making the episode pointless, on top of boring if you know the elements at play. It would then take them a few minutes or a few seconds to defeat the monster together or alone. Mao Mao specifically doesn't have a defined set of moves and starts adding newer ones to his repertoire. It feels like they're just pulling them out of nowhere. If there isn't a clear gauge of their abilities and what they're plausibly suffering from is actually having a significant impact on their performance, it won't make the fights very interesting. In my experience, I only come across writing like this in TV shows past their golden years and the crew are either out of ideas or just don't care anymore. I have a couple theories as to why it'd be like this. The crew are on such a tight production schedule that they don't have the time to look over the written scripts and check for mistakes. or they're taking advantage of the show's fast pace to see what inconsistencies they can put in and wait for someone to point them out, as I'd imagine it'd be difficult to latch onto details in the show unless it focuses intently on them for a while, which is probably why in nearly a quarter of the episodes, they have a habit of
letting the record skip, letting the record skip, letting the record skip, letting the record skip, let.
Shut up, shut up, shut up!
oh good, you understand how I feel now. But allow me to elaborate. The episodes listed right here have repeated a beat where one character tries to get the other to admit something, but they won't. And they keep doing this until they eventually come over to the other side. It's incredibly annoying, and if you do it enough times, you'll end up conditioning your audience to predict the ending of other episodes that don't do this. I shouldn't have to say it, should I? If your audience ends up accurately depicting how the episodes will play out, it won't feel fun for those who like being surprised by a story to follow it, and they'll want to move on to something else. Like me with this mess. And that's what Mao Mao Heroes of Pure Heart is. An exhausting mess. The impact the events have on the characters are fleeting except when the plot calls for them to be remembered. Everyone can easily survive guaranteed death, making all the destruction and action pointless, and just when I feel like I'm warming up to the show with some good episodes here and there, it has to follow it up with others that come off as, we can't have you enjoying this show too much, we gotta force feed you more dumb. I heard it got renewed for a second season, but I've spent enough time on this show. I was exhausted after watching it, and I'm exhausted from talking about it. I'm done with these three. After this, I think I need to talk about something I like to lift my spirits. Okay, one more round of unfinished business, and then it's on to something better. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment your own thoughts on the show or what I've said about the show below. If you guys want to stay updated on future videos and see some cool artwork, be sure to follow me on Parler, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and DeviantArt. And be sure to subscribe to my backup channel over on BitChute. The links are in the description. And if you want to be the first to know when a new video will be up, ring that bell after you subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.